Millennium to power millennium. Good morning, namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. On this day, April 13th, 2022, Wednesday, 3:06 a.m. मैं सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक 13 अप्रैल 2022 बुधवार 3:06 सुबह के and continuation of talk as usual. Title, as you all know, as well, title is same, that is real quality at one end and what we do at another end, and in between are topics related to coordination, engineering, projects, works, all designs, reliable engineers, power of communication, concrete specifications, civil engineering, contracts, safety, health, environment, methods, disputed claims, and parties. All these cover generally professional issues related to people all over the world, and I'm talking about this in a way that we should know what's happening. And here I like to show my board that contains Chartered Engineer title and International Professional Engineer title. And here is email ID SURAJ Suraj underscore ENGINEER engineer at yahoo.co.uk. You are requested to send, if you have to send certain messages, if you have a wish of will, I like to receive that and respond to you. Telephone number also accessible better. I request to send messages, if any, on mail, or I think is better way for communication. And this is another certification. It's International Professional Engineer, registered in India on behalf of IPEA, and that is Civil Engineering branch I belong to. And this is competence certificate for arbitration engineer, that if there is a request for adjudication in some case by institution, they may refer to me likewise, or you can say I am capable to provide consultancy to those who have contractual disputes and how to deal with them. And then there's a Chartered Engineer certification, which is related to corporate membership that I belong to, and that is FIE, which is here FIE Fellow of Institution of Engineers India. And then there is quality file and also coordination file, and I open concrete file as well after closing certain files here. For example, I close C file, that is Chartered Engineer file, and I close arbitration certificate as well for time being. I can open anytime, no issue. And now I stay on quality file. Quality, that is, you can say, soul of profession, soul of life. If there is no soul, we cannot live. Everybody knows it. Soul is power for human. Soul is power for all creatures on this earth, on in world itself. If soul doesn't exist, I think we can name that body as dead. Dead body means material that is decomposable, and no soul exists there. This is generally what we think about. Therefore, we have to be realistic in this way. And when we talk of quality and coordination, you can say is very vast domain which has no limits, boundless, you can say. Coordination is such an important field that everybody cannot do it successfully. Lot of coordination means lot of concentration is required, lot of mental presence is required, or you can say immense knowledge is required, though not in depth but superficially maybe, or in a way you can say overlapping. It would be coordination is that powerful work. Everybody cannot do it happily, but no problem. Gradually we learn it, and learning is life. Those who can coordinate, I think they are brilliant people. Brilliant in the sense that concentration is generated, and if you cannot concentrate, there is no way you can coordinate. Even if you work on computer, you work on Word or on worksheet, and even if you miss something on worksheet or you just divert your mind from some calculation, your calculation shall miss and you make mistakes. It happens. Even in words when you type, little diversion can lead you to mistakes, cause of mistakes. Now, why I am telling you this? Coordination is power, and that power I name it soul, just like we have souls. Everybody has souls. Coordination is a current in which information must move. If you don't have information available, then you must procure it from whatever source where it can be available. And if we can do that, we can start. We must have available information, we must have plenty information, we should know from where we can get that information. Of course, it takes some time, it's true, but when we collect information from various sources, from various issues, well, I think we have a kind of data with us, a kind of data that once we generate with you, that data helps you in coming times. And you can immediately say, okay, this is source where I can find more information. And that is coordination. Coordination means it is not well defined but well understood. Essence of coordination is understood. Provide more information as much as possible, more and more information. We have to provide if we have to do something in this regard. Coordination is based on communication, and communication is based on capability of individuals in writing, in thinking, in composing, and in searching what to communicate. And communication, you can say, is something very important when it goes to coordination, and coordination goes to production of information, production of required substance that can be used in work. And that's why I name it, rather than quality or coordination, I name it real quality and real coordination. Quality is limited or unlimited, but what part of that we want to get or achieve is reality. Coordination is also widened, it has unlimited diversity and vistas, and we cannot go to everything. It depends on our requirement. It's like this: sunrays are available, air is available. Well, we don't take all sunrays all day. We take only, say, for a couple of minutes or couple of hours, and then we come out of that. I don't want sunrays now. I don't want to stay in this fresh air. I want to go to room, because my body does not accept more than that. And that's why I say, if you have to work in this system, you have to understand what is reality. That reality is really very important from every viewpoint. And when we talk of this, we can say real quality and real coordination, then we have to make ourselves ready for it. If I am a coordinator or I am a quality responsible, this means maybe I have not to excavate anything, I have not to do a lot, but my mind should be set in that direction. If I degrade from there, if I shift my concentration potential, I cannot do my job. And this means an engineer has to coordinate, or even a contractor has to coordinate, a writer has to coordinate, a speaker has to coordinate. A speaker also has to coordinate, may not be in writing but in thinking. And there I say thinking is very important activity in life when it relates to information, it relates to connections, it relates to specific topics, and every topic is not independent. Every topic has certain direct or indirect coordination relations with other topics. It happens in life, we know. And that is why those who are experienced, they don't find any problems because they know they have already done this job before and they can do it. Presence of mind is very important, concentration is very important, continuity is very important, and everyone has a role to play in that. And when one is an engineer, this means you have to use engineer has to use its mental potential. Otherwise there is no meaning, or there is no, you can say, requirement of engineer. If engineer cannot think, cannot analyze, cannot coordinate, cannot communicate, I don't say it's communication in an ordinary way. It's a complicated communication in engineering, which involves technical issues, which involves non-technical issues, which involves commercial issues, which involves work-related issues, workers issues, machines issues, procurement issues, records issues, documents issues, and you name it, you will find it. That is simply, it's not, I can say we have to work itself has many sub-works in that. Every work has many sub-works, and every sub-work has further sub-works. That's what we have to deal with in field. And that's why we can say combination of communication, quality and coordination. Combination of communication and communication means it's a groundwork for coordination, and coordination is a groundwork for quality, and quality is a groundwork of good business, good production, good dealings, or you can say production, standard production. And that's why I say engineers should understand. Particularly I see that engineers are not able to understand explanations. They don't care for what I'm saying, but they care or they don't care irrespective of that. It's a requirement. I have observed in my career that we are not happy, we are not so sure, particularly new generation, young people. They don't take major interest in these activities. Maybe it's lack of experience or whatever we can say. But question is not that. Question is professional work. Once you are in profession, irrespective of what salary you get or remuneration you get, responsibility comes. If you don't dispose of your responsibility, there's no meaning in stating that you are a professional. I'm just trying to say it's very important in life to be professional. It's a responsible field, responsibility. And if you are unable to deliver quality products, then no one can say that you are a responsible person. And it's happening. People are not able to get quality products. Whatever product you think of, it's consumables or it's not consumables, it's long-term product. I don't find enrichment of quality, but you can say degrading quality is available. Prices are high, rising, but quality falls. In general, I'm saying, in general, and general means general. Maybe there is some area where specifically it applies and people care about, but it doesn't happen in fact. That's the reason I'm serious about quality issues, and I have not been successful to convince people or to attract people in this regard. Either people are overconfident or they don't care about either of these two, you can say. And it looks that when the country is not behind something, as our country is, Bharat India is not behind, forcefully behind quality, we cannot get it. People have mind that doesn't have quality itself. We talk a lot, we have books, we have everything, but we don't have quality. We have quality system all over world as it applies. P2, I think there is no organization now which doesn't have third-party certification, or you can say quality certification, system certification, and everybody, I'm talking of those who are considered organizations or companies or corporate world people. Everybody claims that we have quality system, we work according to this, we have certificates. Yes, they have certificates, but products do not witness that. Products do not guarantee that. And if products are not guaranteed, so how can I buy that product which is not guaranteed? Then customer has to think, consumer has to think, consumer is a client like, must think, why should I pay for this product when I don't get it way I should get. Of course, even defined quality must be available. I don't say you give me absolute or total, but at least what is defined, it must perform, but it does not. And that's why I have to be very serious about this issue as an engineer and as a citizen of this country and the world, that it's not only I'm saying about this country, this applies to many, many nations where quality is not regarded, it's honor. Same way, people least bother sometimes because they know you speak anything, you do anything, you will get, you have no alternative, you have no choice. You have no other way, means if you don't get, don't get. And of course, companies don't care, governments don't care, people don't care. But who cares then? Well, I think no one would care because it doesn't harm people. You say you buy some product, it doesn't work, what shall you do? You can't do anything. And you don't think in that way, okay, it's all going like that, you may say, it goes like that, what can I do, this and that. No concrete answer, no base for answer, no base to answer. You can answer anything. But question is quality defined? Is coordination defined? Is communication defined? You think you require definition for everything? Is that point of view? You are an intelligent person, you are an engineer or a doctor or a professor or a company engineer or whatever you are. You want everything defined. Can't you consider yourself? Can't you define yourself in your mind? What I should do? If I am an engineer, it's my job to produce good work. Same way, if I am a doctor, it's my job to treat patient to a possible extent, maximum possible extent. And it applies to every profession in the world. And when everybody thinks like that, I think there is no problem. If everything determines that no, we will follow what's required, I won't take any chance, and I will say, okay, this time I could not do it, next time I will do it. All these excuses are not permitted in quality. Quality means it should have, just like if I say my quality is this, I should have that. Otherwise, I have no right to claim that I have this quality. My quality is known through my work, and work speaks what this person is. And if work speaks that, it's fine, no need explain everything, because everything is not explained. Sometimes view itself tells what you are. And that's really the point. I just put on my switch. So that's why I say it's very important point, means we have to understand requirements of life, requirements of all this. We should understand that. That point is really, extraordinary for everybody. And being an engineer, I understand it's a crime. I understand it's a crime. Crime means not cognizable crime, but ordinary crime where I think I lose on honor, lose my regard if I don't give quality. I'm a civil engineer, for your information, and civil engineer is work related engineer. It may be design engineering work, it may be site construction work, it may be activity work, or it may be whatever else, or you can say other related works in relational engineering, or you can say coordinational engineering, like air conditioning, like heating, like mechanical foundations, like you can say mechanical foundation, I mean to say foundations for machines, foundations for something else, foundations for buildings, for structures, works of active works of construction or other works, or you can say means electrical, mechanical, civil, all these. A kind of alliance of engineering, you can say allied engineers we call them, because there are other disciplines coming to play. We say alliance engineers, and we staff are very important. There's no project these days. I don't find projects which are exclusively demanded. There's no engineering branch now. We can say no, we can move ourselves. We do not require services, or we do not require inputs from other branches of engineering. No such projects are available these days. Multidisciplinary project with domination of one, for example, domination of say civil engineering or construction engineering, and or sub-domination of other engineering, electromechanical, or you can say mechanical engineering domination and support of civil, etc. required. Likewise, mechanical, electrical move together. That is true. Electromechanical EME we call it, which covers electrical work, mechanical works, air conditioning works, or you can say plumbing work, etc. work, structural erection, all like that. But when foundations come together, foundations for purpose of doing foundations, civil engineering inputs are required. So why I say no freedom exists for independence, means we have to depend on one another, and that's why we can say that quality and coordination. Coordination is a must in that case, and quality of coordination itself is a must. It may be in writing, it may be in recording, it may be in documentary, it may be on software, it may be wherever. We have to collect information from, to use that information in works, and that's very important. And unfortunately, it is I'm not finding any interest in engineering community. I have tried myself that engineers should think of this, but I don't think that is going to work. Engineers, particularly structural working engineers, means who design structures and supervise structures, RCC structure, other structures, they are responsibility bound to coordinate, but it doesn't happen. We take cases of project managers or project leaders or site engineers, construction engineers. They have a duty to coordinate. A design engineer has a duty to coordinate. Like engineers, I don't think that they really think of coordination, while engineers of site working are concerned. They are bound to do that. And if they don't do that, for sure, the works will be erroneous, or there will be mistakes, and that's really terrible, because mistakes are caused, means then refitting is very important. The fitting of this is very important. Correction is very important. Remedial actions are very important. Mistakes causing is very easy, but correction of mistakes is very expensive, time consuming, and reputation loss. And you can say all 3 points, that is cost, quality, and time are involved, which we lose because of lack of coordination and lack of communication itself. Sometimes coordination doesn't work because communication doesn't work, or it is delayed and work is done, and that causes major havoc on items. And that's why coordination is something which is not well defined in formal way, but by virtue of experience, by virtue of applications, many times one becomes a coordinator. One transforms, rather, would say one transforms to additional value of coordination. And coordination in engineering is very important. I'm not talking of political work coordination, or coordination means engineering coordination, which everybody cannot do. Only that person who knows can do it. For example, I'm a civil engineer. I require coordination, electrical discipline, mechanical discipline, or some other discipline. I have to do that, even if I don't know anything about electrical or mechanical. But elementary, you should know at least. You can know what is voltage, what is ampere, what is circuit, what is earthing, what is lighting, or you can say what is switch panel, or distribution board, sub-distribution board, main board, or automatic transfer switch, or what is, you can say, switch gear, what is transformer, or you can say whatever else. Means where we deal with what is cable trench, what are cables, armored cable, this and that, and what is external work, utilities, etc. Means we have to understand them. At least we should know this is a drawing of electrical engineer, this is telling some circuit here, what does it mean, and what does it say, and how does it specify what relations are it's explained in connection with civil or electrical or mechanical or whatever disciplines, and what's meaning of compatibility in electrical mechanical. But this is a machine here, we have to link it to electrical supply, and what should be compatibility of that, which one first and which foundation is required first. Likewise, you can say electromechanical coordination is very important for miscellaneous types of activities. So I'm not perfect for them, but at least I should know. I have to think of this, I have to deal with this foundation first, and then erection is another point of view. But same way in mechanical work, ducting work, which says ducting work, what's velocity of air to flow in this, what is extraction, and what is supply air, what's temperature, what's volume control damper, and what's fire damper. And likewise we have to know, and we have to coordinate, because generally ducts run through ceiling, false ceiling, and what's the annular space required, you can say plenum depth is required, and how we have to cover it, because we can't see that this duct should be seen. So we have to cover it with reflected ceilings, or you can say false ceiling or suspended ceiling, and that's where we have to think of this. And means we have to know, because we have to do it. So there will be electrical people, mechanical people, AC people, plumbing people. Even then, being a responsible engineer, we have to coordinate, and it's otherwise no use. That means that's what I say. It's question of destiny of project. It's question of national destiny, nation's destiny, and engineers, it's job. Engineers cannot run away. You cannot say I'm a design engineer. I know responsibility and coordination. Responsibility exists because when you design, you have to consider design of other services. They would raise you questions, or if they don't raise, then you ask them how you are doing. Means it's not simply giving a drawing is enough. They have to procure it also, and procurement means compatibility issues are involved for whatever item you buy. It's a different factor. In civil engineering, we don't buy material ready-made, we don't buy, but it's all done on site, on batching plant, or whatever works with. We at least we get materials like tiles, finished materials we get, or that's also not complete, because we have to do it on site. In the same way, you can buy some items ready-made in non-structural items, or in structure itself we can buy reinforced parts, we can buy some other items, bashes, or you can see you can buy raw materials. People call raw material natural metal, actually stone aggregate, or you can say dust or sand or water. Means it's that we have to deal with complete basic work, not built work. In mechanical world, built or fabricated works are delivered, or you can say similarly in electrical, or in other words in the computer world, you can get complete system. I don't think no coordination is required. That the only thing is that we must have complete system of that, and that's why I say quality is very important. I respect quality. It's not my respect one. Everybody has to respect this, because if you get respect, you get a quality item, you feel okay, I have paid and I got it back. That's very important point. And that required to establish both domains, that is quality domain and coordination domain, permanently in engineering profession and also other walks of life. Real quality engineering is a very important work. Real quality engineering and real reliable coordination engineering, without which we cannot move. And people and engineers should understand this, and public also should understand that coordination is very important. How to do coordinate, that's a question of procedure, question of the agreement between two parties. To that extent, we'll coordinate. A kind of procedure is decided about coordination itself, and that procedure requires complete and you can say absolute communication, not essays but pointed communication, to explain to others what does it mean, how we're going to do. In that part of communication as also missing, people are not taught, not experienced, and that's really important point, we can say. I don't go into detail every time, because same file cannot move all the time, and we can say only I can say is come what may. Come what may, no excuse for allowing any concession, no concessions. Whatever is to be done is to be done. That's it. It's a requirement, quality is a requirement means it's a requirement. I can't say no, it is. It's a requirement means to be done, otherwise can't say if it's to be done means to be done. No way, no. As I clearly said, no way, no. It has to be done. That's basic point, and come what may, no excuse, no excuse for whatever expected concessions. Quality is a requirement, it is a forced requirement, it is a mandated requirement, it has to be done. Work's quality cannot be compromised. It's very criminal word when we say compromise. Why compromise with quality? That's my point. Compromise, I don't like it in this way. In spectrum, in world of quality, no compromise is accepted. And we can say we don't intend to compromise just in name of system, just in name of existing quality system. If system does not work, we have to make it right to work. We have to think further how to work. It has to work and it should comply. It's not simply formality compliance, it is application compliant. No excuse. Because system is independent of product quality. System can be fragile, can be broken, or can be maintained. But if quality is not achieved, in that case, system does not mean anything. So what I say must be done. I don't want to just go every time. Now we go to coordination. Reliable coordination, engineering projects, very important point, because it's linked to people, it's public of whatever nation, and engineers are involved. And for reliable quality engineering works deliveries, reliable coordination engineering a must. It is professional engineering a must for profession. And if we miss coordination, means we miss good engineering. No coordination means nothing, and I would stress people, I would stress everybody to coordinate as much as possible for better result. Otherwise, we have to suffer. And communication is support for that. It's also very important part. And quality and communication make this world. We cannot run away from this. How we do, it's your own choice. Nobody can tell you about this because you are doing that job, you are master of that. And that's why you are engineer, because you are master of that. Master means you know as much as possible, as much as is required, and if there's some deficient information, then you have to correct that, you have to take that information. It's not that easy we think it is. It invites, it imports your attention. Your attention is very important part in engineering, and that's why I always say continuation or thinking, or you can say how you think you can do. That's very important part, and it really happens if you think is right or not right. And here are something, I think, some notes I want to share with you. What about that is, of course, it's noting that doesn't go unnoticed. And I'm not going to talk about BIM design, because my mind is BIM. I think it's mind that should be important rather than software for purpose of doing work, because mind tells a lot while others cannot tell. And as I said, in every way, let us see what it says. Minute deliberation. Every day I talk a little in this case, and again I read for you that coordination is not clearly understood by many professionals and others in its right required spirit. They simply say coordinate, but explanation must be provided what is coordination, and that's what's important. And also, fact remains that without adequate and efficient coordination in professional engineering, works cannot be successfully accomplished. If I could claim, it shall be right to admit that coordination failure leads to engineering design and construction failure. Is right? If I could claim, it shall be right to admit, it is correct to admit that coordination failure leads to engineering design and construction failure. Shall you agree? It is a fact. If coordination fails, means your design, construction fails, design fails. We do want, you have designed excellently well, but a person is responsible to do it, could not get it, could not do it, and construction has been done, but it has not been done according to mandate or design. I call design also a kind of mandate for that particular activity. For many engineers, issue of coordination remains very delicate, and such engineers try to avoid involving in coordination complexity. Just expect someone else should give final working drawings or details for work executions. In fact, I experienced that engineers from around whole world scenario, majority engineers population do not have any interest in working on coordination activities due to essential requirement of concentrating or focusing constantly on engineering and in-depth technical issues involved. You might have seen many engineering graduates from very reputed institutions after getting through examinations shift to other fields like management or MBA, you can say, or IT, because the outlook of these people, these engineers, is only package of success and not true development. Engineering is basics, is a fundamental of development world. Of course, it cannot provide you that package, but it can provide you development. That's why I say I have experience from world engineers, world people, and they run away from coordination. That is very bad for everything. And it happens particularly in many countries, including ourselves. And problems are not counted in numbers, but in considering gravity of situation, complexity, and strong decision making related to whatever work items are involved. And that's where it's very important point we have to consider. Why don't we consider like that? That's a point of concern. Coordination definition is for sure necessary to be understood for its real meaning so that no mixing results in problems are not counted in numbers but in considering gravity of situation, complexity and strong decision making related to whatever work item or items are involved. Coordination definition is for sure necessary to be understood for its real meaning so that no mixing results in. Coordination definition is for sure necessary to be understood for its real meaning so that no mixing results in, and that's why it's really very important. Mixing means a state of confusion. Mixing means a state of confusion in work, and state of confusion meaning indicates that right activity related to work cannot be carried out at right time. Mixing means a state of confusion and work, and state of confusion meaning indicates that right activity related to work cannot be carried out at the right time. In construction world in particular, structural and multi buildings, structures and buildings constructions, no limitation of drawings and detailing exists even for a small building or structure. Small building or structure, categories of drawings and details remain quantum. Even quantum, that's if it could be a major building. It depends on design professionals. It depends on designing professional about how to apply drawings and detailing so that construction personnel should not refer back all times, every time for either confirmation and clarification of various issues involved. Coordination can therefore be defined in a way that all branches of engineering and all disciplines involved in ongoing activities must be clearly described and detailed so that no information is left out that could hold progress on activity or part of whatever activity. Is very simple. You can explain it as well. So now it says coordination can therefore be defined. So we can define it rather than explaining it in such a way that whatever branches of engineering are involved on that activity or on disciplines must be clearly described. Whatever activity we have to do, it must be clearly described and completely detailed in a way that no information is left out or there is no blank to be filled in that could hold progress on activity or work or part of whatever activity or work. So we must have coordination clearly requires that whatever activity is performed, whatever work is performed, all information available must be clear and whatever information is required from other branches must be done well in advance of conducting or carrying out that work or making decision on that work. Otherwise, there is no meaning of coordination if we miss some work, some information from whatever discipline or whatever other branch of engineering and they say I did not have this information so I could not do it. There is no such excuse. If you did not have information, then you should not have executed that item, conducted that item, and that's very impossible. That's why we call it coordination. In fact, coordination means all informations are equally valued. These don't have junior or senior, or you can say inferior or superior. All information required are important from that viewpoint. And even if you can say, if I say one small information is left or is held without having adequate details or is not formally confirmed, if one small information is held without having adequate details or is not formally confirmed, activity can stop or it shall be carried out based on either correct or incorrect knowledge possessed by site team, which work could be considered in contravention of what designing team contemplated. Consequently, it shall be certainly leading to cause formal errors. This paragraph is very important. I read again for you. If even one small information is left or is held without having adequate details or is not formally confirmed, activity can stop or it shall be carried out based on either correct or incorrect knowledge, or you can say not correct knowledge, not clear knowledge, not confirmed knowledge possessed by site team, which work could be considered in contravention of what design team contemplated. Consequently, it shall be certainly leading to cause formal error. It also remains a certain fact, that no subject or no branch of coordination engineering is available for purpose of learning, for imparting professional education at whatever any either diploma or degree level, and even if it may be considered up to doctorate level. Absence of inclusion of this very significant subject within engineering program explicitly indicates and evidences that education professionals do not understand value of engineering coordination discipline. Well, I should not go into criticizing anyone because it's a fact. I don't blame anyone. It is my blame, it is professional blame, and it is blame on those people who set such syllabus, such educational programs. Those people are not well versed about what happens in engineering field. Maybe those people belong to teaching profession and they do not really understand how our works done or carried out in professional engineering. So we can say that coordination engineering is an unlimited world and can expand its vistas to unlimited areas involving many disciplines or every discipline in one branch of engineering, and also importing various branches of engineering depending on what class of works are affected. We have also seen an era of coordination engineering or activities when there used to be no electronics related technologies, or we now call it information technology or digital technology. But whenever and wherever large voluminous works were carried out on civil, electrical, mechanical and architectural engineering coordination. Even in those days, in that era, works of coordination were very much time consuming due to the fact that even drawings used to be manually drafted or drawn. Coordination engineer would have been appointed had incumbent professional been experienced on considerable size sites of projects, and whosoever professional having just one engineering discipline knowledge could not be successful for efficient working on site, and progress consequently either marred or errors caused. Such unhelpful situation forced professional engineers to work long hours to have firm grip on design details, and correlated one discipline with all other disciplines one by one, of course, consuming considerable work allotted time. An understanding of coordination definition and respective description makes certain differences on works. We not call it teamwork for sure, because coordination cannot be done effectively by team. Because coordination cannot be done effectively by team. Such unhelpful situation force professional engineers to work long hours. An understanding of coordination, definition, respective descriptions make certain differences on works. We may not call it teamwork for sure, because coordination cannot be done by team effectively. Now what happens? What happens that members of project team are required to extend engineering support to engineering coordinators. Members of project team are required to extend engineering support to engineering coordinator, without whose input no coordination activity would move. Whereas engineering professional involved on every coordination has to involve personally on every provided information for purpose of corroborative ratification based on total scrutiny as well as necessary examination or investigation of all details. Coordination's beauty of coordination is that it is never ending activity, which we can say therefore cannot be considered time fixed activity or time related activity. It depends on design mandate and scope of work requirement, along with other contract documents such as engineering design specifications and acquired input from spatial materials producing manufacturers, such as documented instructions and material data studies. Complexities of technicalities and structure of resources have certainly created additional complexities when many disciplines or branches of engineering work together. Branches of engineering work together, forcing attention from coordinating professional to look into all requirements, contract related and industry related as well as codes mandate related. In fact, coordination at higher level of responsibility is always voluminous task, which work imports working knowledge of various engineering branches and additional in-depth knowledge of one's own engineering discipline. It's also true that current engineering and advanced project scenario, just depending on certain proclaimed software, that's where we are weakening ourselves. That's where I should say, if you depend on software, I'm saying is true that current engineering and advanced project scenario, just depending on certain proclaimed software, may not be absolutely assistive to automatically resolve details pertinent various conflicts existing among or revealed among, that's why I say pertinent various conflicts among various disciplines, and therefore no blind eyes can be allowed to trust outcome of various conflicting details into physical working solutions, as many items on various components of whatever project do invite equivalent, additional or augmentative level of coordination for all such designs and respective detailing applications on site, work dependent of finally agreed details, which is sometimes named or entitled current documents, under proposal and then approval as such working drawings and also shop drawings, and final to cover all disciplines in a unified approach, coordination drawings. Such activities to produce coordination drawings on various areas of project components do cause professional requirements from various disciplines, and where coordinator has to apply mind fully immersed in an imaginative contemporary ocean of details, keeping abreast applicable specifications and contract related documents, and of course contractual complexities that make entire situation little more complex, and in certain areas a major overhaul requires to be effected. It's really disappointing to note that coordination preference has been found missing among engineers at beginning of professional career. When one tries opt when one tries opts to specialize just on its own discipline, even discarding its own branch related other subjects. It's of course necessary for professional to be for sure attain at some specialization level, but simultaneously must move on parallel tracks with remaining disciplines and certainly try to join other engineering branches overlapping. At this stage of conferring, I like to infer with entitled terms such as specialist engineers, managers and organizers as well as others. It's also admissible that every professional engineer must have associated certain ambition to achieve and to reach certain goal in professional world. But this doesn't mean that such professional shall have to leave all other aspects that apply within profession for cohesive working. Focus should not find any final stop. Focus should not find any final stop, but continuation of specialization and then additional working specialization as major requirements in engineering profession. Because engineering cannot be replaced or overtaken by any other non-engineering professional. One should consider positively that management or organization can be replaced by professional engineer, whereas its vice versa does not apply howsoever seriously one may try. I would only say all those so-called proclaimed leaders or managers who try to dominate engineering professionals or project leaders or leading organizers or managers have never succeeded without having total reliance on responsible professional engineers. For engineering details applicable on projects cannot be learned just by going through certain baseless curriculum involving no engineering subjects. Coordination engineering amounts to such physically invisible fundamental domain which requires perfect detailed engineering knowledge and thorough knowledge of specialized practical experience, or else no professional can get work delivered successfully and qualitatively. No work can be completed in modernized projects without using impetus from coordination engineering, which is a combination of all involved prime domains. Best suited for such types of professional interactive engineering are all experienced professional engineering organizers who have invested their practice of every such activity in addition to having attained respective expertise. In fact, currently, coordination is like a super domain for which an ordinary educated engineer cannot best suit him. But if one has got multi-level experience in office engineering as well as site engineering, can perform such tasks efficiently. To be very frank in stating definition of coordination in a nutshell, it can be acceptable to describe an engineer who can procure all related professionals belonging respective individual discipline onto a firm and final agreement on whatever involved project, component or components, and whatever activity applicable on a set of combination of all architectural, structural and services drawings free from every clash, or it may be named coordinated drawing for all practical working purposes. It's not very specific that coordination is affected only in engineering but also applicable everywhere in other professions as well as in administration, and it further be carried forward to work of governments all over the world. It's often reported that many schemes could not take off even at budget stage and also post budget at initiation stage because of lack of required information or because of non-availability of capable professionals or administrators who could either procure or import or forced to join all respective personnel to one page. Consequence in case of failure leads to prorogation of all such projects for longer duration, resulting budget cost resolution and rethinking to be made on every such project for sustainability. Nowhere in entire world we can find capable ministers who may be able to lead ministries in such a way that works move according to required degree of coordination mechanism. Foregoing explanations have been charted out for purpose of conducting necessary brainstorming that may be called for by all others for contemplating on this essential purpose, because project means absolute and optimum use of funds and not to waste funds for achieving futile results. But we cannot expect non-professionals to realize these facts. While handling engineering projects, every engineer has to rely on certain specific disciplines or branches of various engineering disciplines. We have these 15 branches of gross engineering, and building engineers or architectural engineers or civil engineers or structural engineers, electromechanical engineers, security related engineers, information technology engineers, etc. are required to work in team structure to produce designs, details, as well as to carry out execution work at supervision level as well as at construction levels. Even on buildings, we do not have all complexities that are noticed on plants facilities or chemical processing projects, which location area spreads into many square miles and may consume many years for each project or designs and executions. This is my page, yeah, just for your information. I'm just put in, and that's my arbitration engineering caliber or capability that I'm enrolled on IEI, this Institution of Engineers India Arbitration Panel. This for I can help anybody. I can help some who have some disputes on contracts, and for that purpose, this is my email, same as I given, and these are my credentials. If some person is interested, you may use this information for that purpose. I'm just putting in here just for reference and just for information if someone does it. I'll open file of concrete, that is, concrete specifications we had been doing here, and it is really put it like, keep it for a moment here. If you want to see, you can read it. It's better for everyone to read it. If you can see, read it. Consequently, just a minute, I'll try to share this information. I'm just reading it, and that's World Arbitration Engineer, for whole world it is. Contract disputes resolution mechanism consultancy, arbitration proceedings consultancy, lump sums EPC contracts consultancy, international contracts consultancy, which means FedEx, etc. I have experience on contracts in Qatar, in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and also in this country, and I have gone through many tender documents, others, etc. for that purpose, and I can help people if they require professional assistance. This is my mobile number here for that purpose, 9810610718. You can write mails. I prefer mails, and that is suraj_engineer@yahoo.co.uk, suraj_engineer@yahoo.co.uk. My residence is in Faridabad, India. That is NCR 121001, Sector 421B, and house number 430. This is just for information. I will come back to concrete file, which is concrete, which is only material that makes everyone. In fact, it's such a material that cannot be compromised with. There is no way we can go without it. Concrete means solid. Concrete means concrete. Concrete means can't go without that. It's material of construction. It's material of determination. It's material of solidity. It's material of strength. It's material of long distance travel. Or we can say it's a material that can take all forces. It's a material that can bend, that can be straightened, that can be compressed, that can be given tensile forces in line with concrete and steel combination. And also concrete can be called, it can be used for decades and decades to come in. And I think concrete is such an issue now that nobody can do anything without it, and that's also a true point. That's true. In this, let us say where we were, I actually don't remember. I'll talk of, I'll just go back to this reinforcement, because this is first of all very complicated. This is reinforcement, and it's very important for everybody to be clear about reinforcement, because reinforcement is a life of concrete. You may say we discussed about master plan, we discussed about other delivery. So fabrication and reinforcement discussed. I'll just read it for you fast because there's nothing to explain. Reinforcing bars shall be fabricated to shape and size defined on design documents using methods that do not cause any damage to these bars. Or it says bars have been bent ones should not be bent, because we discussed last time we should not bend bars, and we should not procure bent bars as well. Epoxy resin coated reinforcing bars shall be processed by an appropriate method suitable for respective characteristics, and that is epoxy resin coated reinforcing bars. General rule says reinforcing bars shall not be welded, and if there is no way except welding, then we must be careful about that welded reinforcing bars are bent at that time. Welded portions of bars shall not be bent. That's the first point. As a general rule, bending should not be done within a distance equal to 10 times bar diameter. That is, bending should not be done from valve in a distance of 10 times diameter. If bend radius requirements for reinforcing bars are not indicated in design drawings as well as in specifications, reinforcing bars shall not be bent with a radius smaller than inside bend radius indicated designs. Reinforcing bars repeat I did last time. We shall refer to shapes and dimensions indicated in design drawings and specifications and fabricate reinforcing bars so that dimensions fall within specified dimensional tolerance. In order to fabricate reinforcing bars so that dimensions fall within tolerance, it is desirable that equipment suitable for type of reinforcing bars be used for bar bending. Rebending of bars may have adverse effects on quality of bars. Rebending, therefore, shall be avoided as or to an extent possible. If reinforcing bars are provisionally bent at a location such as a construction joint and later bent back or straightened into specified position, it is necessary either to bend at, you can say, and rebend bars at largest possible radius, or heat it from 900 to 1000 degrees Celsius before bending, but that is not possible practically. Fabrication of assembly of epoxy resin coated reinforcing bars shall be done by an appropriate method so that quality of coating film is not degraded. Because this requires specialized knowledge about epoxy resin coated reinforcing bars, we not be welded in general because it may harm quality of bars. When it is impossible to avoid bending for repair or strengthening effects of welding on welded reinforcement and performance of structure should be investigated sufficiently. Site welding should necessarily be sufficiently organized. No bending should be made at a location closer than 10 times bar diameter to nearest welded portion because of its fabricability and reliability. As a bar bending machine facilitates bending work of bars in the large diameters under normal temperature, bending shall in general be carried out at normal temperature. When heat must be applied to normal hot rolled reinforcing bars, when heat must be applied to normal hot rolled reinforcing bars, it shall be within temperature range of 900 to 1000 degrees Celsius. Rapid cooling should be avoided. Rapid cooling should be avoided. Bars might be harmed. Bars must be harmed by an inadequate heating temperature, rate of cooling, or bending procedures. It is important to control heating temperature sufficiently and avoid rapid cooling or rapid cooling for bending Before being assembled, reinforcing bars shall be cleaned, and rust or whatever other foreign matters which may adversely affect bond between bars and concrete shall be removed. Reinforcing bars shall be accurately placed and secured against any movement or whatever movement during placing. The reinforcing bars shall be accurately placed and secured against whatever possible movement during placement. For this purpose, erection bars shall be used, erection bars if necessary. In addition, in addition, annealed wire having a diameter of not less than 0.8 mm or appropriate clips shall be used at intersection of reinforcing bars to keep them in position. Reinforcing bars shall be accurately placed and secured against any movement during placement. For this purpose, erection bars shall be used if necessary. In addition, annealed wire having a diameter of not less than 0.8 mm or appropriate clips shall be used at intersection of reinforcing bars to keep them in position. Spaces shall be provided. Spaces means concrete covers, whatever covers you do. Spaces shall be provided at required intervals to achieve required concrete cover for reinforcing bars. In selecting and placing spacers, conditions at location of spacers, method used for fixing spacers, amount of reinforcement or reinforcing bars, and working loads should be considered. As general rule, spacers in contact with formwork should be made of mortar or concrete. As a general rule, spacers in contact with formwork should be made of mortar or concrete. If part of assembled reinforcement is exposed, to air for a long time, reinforcing bars should be rust proofed. If part of assembled reinforcement is exposed to air for a long time, reinforcing bars should be rust proofed. If a considerable amount of time has passed after reinforcement bars are assembled, surfaces of mud, oil, paint, etc. may adversely affect bond strength of reinforcement. Rust, mud, oil, paint may adversely affect bond strength of reinforcing bars. With concrete, hardened mortar adhered to reinforcing bars shall be removed by wire brush. This provision has been made because strength of reinforced concrete members may be affected and their durability may be degraded if reinforcing bars are not located as specified in design drawings and specifications. In some design drawings, positions of reinforcing bars are shown only in their central lines and cover may not be appropriately displayed. Therefore, accuracy of reinforcing bars arrangement should be confirmed beforehand by preparation of assembly diagram in consideration of outer diameter and bending radius, assembly sequence of reinforcing bars, etc. Erection bars are required for not only preventing bars from movement but also for facilitating erection. Sometimes erection bars are not shown, but it is recommended that if used from viewpoint of durability, cover of erection bar should also be ensured. To ensure correct spacing of bars, intersections of bars are usually tied up. Correct spacing of bars, intersections of bars are usually tied up with wires of diameter 0.8 mm or greater. To fix intersections, can be utilized instead of wire. Spot welding may damage quality of bars and lower fatigue strength considerably due to local heating. It's a very important point. Spot welding may damage quality of bars and lower fatigue strength considerably due to local heating. Care should be taken to ensure that harmful effects do not occur to bars in consideration of type of loads. Importance of structure, materials and diameters of bar, inadequate bar diameter, welding workmanship or welding method. Now, spacers which are made of proper materials for use. Position should be placed at appropriate position. You can say position. Spacers which are made of proper materials for use. Position should be placed at appropriately location in order to retain reinforcing bars for appropriate positions and to ensure required cover. Generally, spacers made of mortar, concrete, steel, plastic or ceramic are used. Spacers made of mortar, concrete, steel, plastic or ceramic are used. Materials for spacers should be determined in consideration of site location and environmental conditions. Mortar or concrete spacers shall general be used in the spaces, that is concrete spacers, mortar or concrete. Dimensions of spaces used shall be appropriately selected in order to ensure minimum required cover and to place reinforcing bars at position within tolerance. If steel spacers are exposed, at concrete surface, portion in contact with formwork begin to rust even if they have been rust proofed. Consequently, these portions may cause corrosion inner portions of reinforcing bars, create corrosion vulnerable regions and degrade appearance of structure. In a highly corrosive environment, steel spacers are particularly prone to rusting, and rusty water may turn concrete surface brown. Steel spacers must not be used, therefore, in highly corrosive environments. Although there are corrosion resistant spacers made of stainless steel or other materials, there are still unknown factors such as corrosion due to contact between different kinds of metal. Plastic spacers pose other types of problems such as differences in coefficient of thermal conductivity from concrete and insufficiency in bond and load carrying capacity. As a general rule, therefore, specification requires use of mortar or concrete spacers. Quality of mortar or concrete spacers used shall be equivalent to or higher than that of structural concrete. It's a very important paragraph. I like to repeat this paragraph for information. It's not easy but important paragraph. And that is, if steel spaces are exposed, if steel spaces are exposed at concrete surface, portion in contact with formwork begin to rust, even if these have been rust proofed. Consequently, those portions may cause corrosion of inner portions of reinforcing bars, create corrosion vulnerable regions, and degrade appearance of structure. In a highly corrosive environment, steel spacers are particularly prone to rusting. And thrust and dusty water may turn concrete surface brown. Steel spacers must not be used. Therefore, in highly corrosive environment, although there are corrosion resistant spacers available as made of stainless steel or other materials, there are still unknown factors such as corrosion due to contact between different kinds of metal. Plastic spacers pose other types of problems such as differences in coefficient of thermal conductivity. That is what it says. Plastic spacers pose other types of problems such as differences in coefficient of thermal conductivity from concrete and insufficiency in bond. It says difference in coefficient of thermal conductivity and from concrete and insufficiency in bond and load carrying capacity. General therefore is specification requires use of mortar or concrete spacers. Quality of mortar or concrete spacers used shall be equivalent to or higher than that of structural concrete. Generally, number of spacers is about 4 per square meter. Generally, it's not exactly to be more also. I think it's the lower side, it's telling it should be at least 8 to 10 in 1 square meter, particularly on slabs. Generally, number of spacers is about 4 per meter square in beams and slabs, and about within 2 to 4 per square meter in webs, walls and columns. Spacers should be placed in zigzag with an interval of 50 centimeter when number of spacers is 4 per 1 meter square. Position of spacers should be described in drawing in which reduced scale is large for arrangement of reinforcement bars. If assembled reinforcing bars are left unconsecrated, without concrete for a long time, collect loose rust. What happens? These bars collect loose rust, dirt, oil, etc. As a rule, therefore, if time after completion of reinforcing bars assembly unit placement of concrete is expected to be long, reinforcing bars shall be either rust proofed or protected with sheeting or other devices. If a long time has passed after reinforcement, reinforcing bars are assembled until placement of concrete, reinforcement bars shall in general be cleaned again. Reinforcing bar. Joints of reinforcing bars. Joints of reinforcing bars. So we have here, let us see how it works. I'm sorry. Sorry. What to do? I just took some water and it's digesting. Very hot. Early morning, very hot. See what is going on. What's happening here? I don't know what's happening. It's nonsense. What's happening like this? I don't know. So I should close it, right? I should close it. Close it. Saving the files. Finish. Okay, so we go here. Joints of reinforcing bars. Joints of reinforcing bars. Reinforcing bar joint locations and joint methods shall conform to design drawings and specifications. If a reinforcing bar joint that is not indicated in design drawings and specifications requires to be provided, location of joint and jointing method shall be determined in accordance with design sections. In a lapping joint, reinforcing bars should be lapped over required lapping length and be tied at several points with annealed wires having a diameter of at least 0.8 mm. If lap joints, gas pressure welded joints, if lap joints, gas pressure welded joints or mechanical joints are used for reinforcing bars, recommendations of design, fabrication, evaluation of anchorages and joints in those bars should be followed. Reinforcing bars extending out of finished concrete shall be protected against possible damage and corrosion to ensure good continuity with further construction. When selecting a joint method, it shall be joining method actually. When selecting a joining method, it shall consider type of reinforcing bars, diameter, type of reinforcing bar, diameter, state of stress, joint location, joint performance requirement, etc. At design stage, what you can say, joint locations are specified in design drawings and specifications in due consideration of those factors. For this reason, design drawings and specifications to be followed with respect to reinforcing bar joint locations and joint methods. It may become necessary, however, at construction stage to provide reinforcing bar joints that are not indicated in design drawings and specifications. In such cases, design section of this specification must be followed. Lap length requirements of our lap joints are specified in design section. It's important to firmly connect lap portions with iron wire. It's important to firmly connect lap portion with iron wire. Length of section wound by annealed iron wire. Annealed iron wire should be made as short as possible. Length of section wound by annealed iron wire should be made as short as possible, because an excessive length may cause a decrease in bond strength between concrete and reinforcing bars, and as a consequence, decrease in strength of joint. Recommendations for design, fabrication, and evaluation of anchorages and joint and reinforcing bars specify gas pressure welding joints. Manual gas pressure welding joint is manual gas pressure welding joint, automatic gas pressure welding joints, gas pressure welding and hot shearing joints. Welding joints, butt welding joints, butt arc stud welding joints, butt resistance welding joint, flare welding joints, and mechanical joints. Crimped sleeve joints, crimped sleeve screw joints, threaded deformed bar joints, mortar grouted joints, friction welding screw joints, wedged joints, combination joints. This specification provides for equipment and methods for construction and inspection, qualification requirements for inspectors, reliability attributable to these factors. Construction and inspection, therefore, need be carried out with prior understanding of those provisions. So there are so many points given in this recommendations, so they are not directly applicable, but just for reference. It's given that recommendations for design, fabrication, evaluation of anchorages and joints and reinforcing bars specify gas pressure welding joints, and can be manual gas pressure welding joint, it can be automatic gas pressure welding joint, gas pressure welding and hot shear joints. Welding joints are butt welding joints. In case of welding joints, it can be butt welding joints, it can be butt arc stud welding joints, butt resistance welding joints, flare welding joints. The mechanical joints, which is crimped sleeve joint, crimped sleeve screw joints, threaded deformed bars joints, mortar ground joints, friction welding screw joints, wedged joints, combination joints. And this specification provides for equipment and methods for construction and inspection, qualification requirements for inspections, inspectors, reliability attributable to these factors, construction and inspection, therefore required to be carried out with prior understanding of those provisions. To prevent corrosion of bars, methods such as cement paste coating on bars. To prevent corrosion of bars, methods such as cement paste coating on bars or coating with high polymeric film are generally used. Cement paste coating on bars or coating with high polymeric films are generally used. Such materials may cause a reduction in bond strength with concrete and should therefore be removed completely before joining is undertaken. It says such metals will cause reduction in bond strength with concrete and should therefore be removed completely before joining is undertaken. It's effective to put a vinyl bag on joining part. The vinyl bag on joining part of reinforcing bars to protect them from rainwater. Placement of pre-assembled reinforcing bars. Pre-assembled reinforcing bars shall be placed accurately at specified location in formwork. Pre-assembled reinforcing bar segments shall be connected together by a method that makes it possible to achieve required joint performance. Pre-assembled reinforcing bar segments shall be connected together by a method that makes it possible to achieve required joint performance. In cases where pre-assembled reinforcing bars are to be placed at a specified location, it is necessary to select steel reinforcements for lifting in due consideration of safety, so that there will have no adverse effects such as irregularities in shape or dimensions or excessive deformation of pre-assembled reinforcement cage due to lifting. In order to place pre-assembled reinforcing bars accurately in position, it is recommended that positioning marks be indicated on upper part of formwork or other appropriate places. In order to place pre-assembled reinforcing bars accurately into position, it is recommended that positioning marks be indicated on upper part of formwork or other appropriate places. In order to achieve required strength of structure, it's important to connect together pre-assembled reinforcing bars segments by a highly reliable method. Lap joint must be placed so that lap portions of reinforcing bars are in contact with each other. So that left portion of reinforcing bars are in contact with each other. If it is difficult to place reinforcing bars to be connected, if it is difficult to place reinforcing bars to be connected so that these are in contact with each other, as in case of diaphragm walls. It's difficult to place reinforcing bars to be connected so that they are in contact with each other, as in case of diaphragm walls. It's necessary to ascertain that joint meets performance requirements for formwork and shoring. Formwork and shoring. Signals are 0, 0, 0. There's a problem here. If I continue, just come back again. That's the problem here. It's coming and going very fast. Well, formwork and shoring. You know what is formwork, and it's very important part. Without formwork, everybody knows it. Formwork is work to form shape of concrete. That's what it's formed. To give shape to design of concrete practically. And formwork means shuttering in ordinary language, that we have to shut profile form. And to support that, that's what formwork and shoring do mean. Construction plans for formwork and shoring. Formwork and shoring. Construction plans for formwork and shoring shall be prepared in advance and formwork and shoring be designed and constructed in accordance with those plans so that concrete structure has shape and dimensions indicated in design drawings and specifications. Formwork and shoring shall be designed and constructed so as to ensure required strength and rigidity against load, and also to ensure required shape and dimensions of structure. In order to achieve required accuracy of concrete structure, in order to achieve required accuracy of concrete structure, accuracy of assembled formwork and shoring shall be confirmed before placing concrete. In addition to provisions of this standard, design construction of formwork shall also comply with. It is usually not necessary to allow for a very large factor of safety when designing formwork and shoring because period from placement of concrete to its hardening is short. There must, however, be neither adverse effects on structure nor unsafe practices. Formwork and shoring are important for obtaining a structure that meets positional and dimensional requirements. Positional and dimensional requirements, that's what it said. Formwork and shoring are important for obtaining a structure that meets positional and dimensional requirements and ensures safety of workers involved in compaction and other construction tasks. Engineers who manage those tasks. So what it says, there must, however, be neither adverse effects on the structure nor unsafe practices. Formwork and shoring are important for obtaining a structure. Obtaining a structure that meets positional and dimensional requirements and ensures safety of workers involved in compaction and other construction tasks, and engineers who manage those tasks. Formwork and shoring therefore be designed by engineers who have specialized knowledge about formwork design. It's also desirable that those construction tasks be performed by experienced and skilled professionals. It's usually not necessary to allow for a very large factor of safety. We have known that when designing formwork because it's hardened, it's very short period for concrete. So we have to be very careful about that, means how to shape it and what formwork to provide and what sort of support requires. Supporting is very important, we know that. For vertical members you can say, and for horizontal members you can say. For vertical members there is a hydraulic pressure built at 1/3 of height from bottom, maybe column, maybe wall. Vertical member we can say at 1/3 height. If you imagine that is complete poured at that time, 1/3 pressure from bottom, that point shall be maximum resulting, but because it may take time and hours, so you can say lower portion might have been hardened or started setting, so gradually it goes on reducing from bottom to top. That's why it's really important we talk of that. What's the meaning of formwork? In formwork, so reduces pressure of concrete successfully, and concrete we can say vertical portion WH cube, WH square over 2 is your formula to go, and then you have to know this was this. Now it says formwork and shoring therefore need be designed by engineers who have specialized knowledge about formwork design. It's also desirable that those construction tasks be preferred by experienced and skilled technicians who are capable of determining whether anomalies, anomalous erection, work is in progress. Example, persons certified as chief assembly technicians